So because this is only going to take about 3 or 4 minutes to form these crab cakes, before I get started, I am putting my oven on broil. I just want the top of the crab cake to brown. I am not trying to cook a well done steak. So it's going to go in the oven on broil for a couple of minutes, and that's it. I am just starting off with 1 can of crab meat. They didn't have jumbo lump crab meat. I guess due to COVID, all the jumbo is sold out, which sucks. But lump is fine. Lump is, yeah, it'll do the same thing. But I'm using real Hellmann's. Some people like to use Miracle Whip or Duke's. I think that's dumb. I like Hellmann's. So I'm just adding this in little by little as I go. Minced onions. I did not feel like cutting up an onion because I didn't feel like my eyes burning like they always do. So this works perfectly fine. It's still going to give you that same onion flavor. This is the magic secret. You do not need to season your crab meat. You are not seasoning steak or ground beef. This works perfectly fine. These little balls work great. They have seasoning in it already, and this is the only thing that I use to keep my crab meat together. Like once I put my egg and everything in it, this is it. Restaurants typically will use like a cream-based filling, a bread filling, I don't know, cornmeal or crushed up crackers. I don't like that because when the crab cake is done, you can taste all of that bread, all of that cream that they use to stretch the crab meat. We don't need to do that here. And I'm only using 1 can, so I use 1 egg. Now, I do not cook with measurements unless I am baking like a cake or cupcakes or something. Or like when I do, no, I'm lying. I don't even use measurements when I make my cornbread. But I do not use measurements because I typically like to feel my food, which means I use my hands a lot, and I taste my food as I'm making it. You know, I just go by what tastes good, what feels good. If the texture is right, that's what I go with. I hardly ever use measurements. So if you're going to make your crab cakes this way, pay attention, add as you go. The reason why I am using this folding method is because there is nothing worse than shredded crab meat. Nobody wants shredded crab meat. So you still want to be able to taste chunks of crab meat in your crab cake. So the only way to keep some of those chunks together is to fold this, the ingredients that you're using in. So at this point, the crab meat is doing okay. It's a little loose for me, so I'm just picking it up and dropping it to see how easy it's going to be to fall apart. So again, adding as I go, I'm going to get my crab cake classic mix, add a little bit more of that. Again, you do not need to season this. There is seasoning already in that classic mix. So I'm going to add a little bit more. Fold that in just to kind of thicken it up a little bit. I don't know if maybe I used a little too much mayonnaise or what, but I'm going to thicken this up a little bit and then get to forming my crab cakes and popping them into the oven. So now you can see that the crab meat is a little bit thicker. It's not falling apart. It's not as loose as it was before. And I'm just kind of tossing this. I'm not smashing them down and packing the meat together because we are not making burgers. You do not need to pack your meat together. This is not ground turkey or ground beef. So you just use this little tossing method so that you're not packing the juice out of this and placing them into my pan. Now, there's no specific reason that I have lined my casserole dish with aluminum foil. I just don't want to have to scrub it and spend hours at the sink once I'm done cooking. It just makes for easy cleanup. So now this is going to go in the oven. I have an older oven, so I think with these older ovens that the broiler is always at the top. I'm not sure, but this is where my broiler is. And you can see I have the crab cakes really close to that top rack because I kind of want these to burn a little bit fast. Like I said, we're not, making a steak in the broiler or anything. So I'm not trying to make these crab cakes well done or anything. I still want them to be a little juicy in the inside. So I want the top to brown really fast. And I'm going to stay in the kitchen to watch this to make sure that it doesn't burn. And right before they're all the way brown or as brown as I like them, I add a little bit of garlic butter to the top. If you don't have garlic butter, you can always just melt some regular butter and add a little bit of garlic salt to it and kind of pour it over the top. A little bit, but not enough to where it's salty. This is my finished product. You can see my little garlic spread on top. And I like my crab cakes with crackers. Some people eat them with lettuce and tomatoes on a sandwich. They eat them with a meal, a starch, and a vegetable on the side. This is the way that I like mine. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it was helpful to you guys. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Yeah.